Now, folks, here's the fundamental problem with the whole creditor-debtor thing. It doesn't shift where we are looking for our abundance. It's still looking at fiat currency, the creation of which we have very little control over. And then they think because now you're a creditor instead of a debtor, your demands are going to automatically be met and meet your needs and bring you abundance. And I don't think it's going to work. Now, the problem with that, of course, is because people are equating their abundance with their access to resources. And this is a simple graph. This is what we're facing. The number of people is increasing. The number of resources are dwindling. And when we get past this point right here, we get into this area where the number of people and their needs is greater than the resources. That's what essentially is hell on earth. And the problem with that is not so much the number of people, but that those people believe their value and their abundance is a function of their access to the resources. What if there's another place to find abundance? Now, where would we find it if not the resources? How about this? How about we find our abundance in the people? If we find abundance in the people, and now I'm not saying use the people as a resource, you know, a la Soylent Green. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, what if the abundance is actually a function of the people's creativity? Then you start to develop a situation where your abundance will be a function not of how much resources you have managed to withhold from your fellow man, but how much inspiration you have brought them to be creative. And when people get creative like that, they start to enjoy an abundance. And whether or not it's just learning to play music, whether or not it's learning to be creative with figuring out energy needs and ways to meet them. By focusing on increasing our fellow man's creativity, we will find all the abundance we need. It'll end up being where you have people where you go and you give them a potato and you teach them to cut it open and plant 4 pieces, and they get 50 pounds of potatoes out of it. They come to you saying, look, I've got extra potatoes. And that one you give them will come back to you 7-fold. When people start realizing that abundance should be a function of our creativity and not of our ability to monopolize resources, we can actually avoid this situation, because although the people will increase and the resources might necessarily dwindle, our ability to share and use the resources we have is what's going to save us. Okay, folks, so bear in mind what we're aiming for here is greater peace and abundance. So what this implies to me is that we must avoid conflict, and that means we must study how it comes about. Having looked at it rather extensively, I've come to the conclusion that just about all conflict is a result of one thing. And that is when one party feels that they have been denied something which is due. And that one thing is almost always dignity. Now, dignity, it can manifest in certain ways. Some people might know it as respect, honor, kindness, compassion. All of these have the effect of causing the recipient to feel a greater level of dignity, and they feel raised up. And almost all conflict is a result of one party feeling that they have been denied dignity due. Now, even when it comes to resources, if you're arguing about water, one party might feel, hey, I need water to live, and when you deny me water, you're denying me my right to live, and therefore you're denying me my dignity. Just about every conflict can be pointed, if you examine it, will lead back to someone being denied the dignity they felt was due. And it was done in such a manner that they felt fighting, conflict, and aggression was justified at that point. So if we want peace and abundance, we want to avoid conflict. What does this then necessarily imply? We have to increase the level of human dignity around those around us. If you want to avoid conflict, act with compassion, kindness, honor, and respect towards each other. You won't end up naturally in conflict, and you will be granting people the dignity that they feel is due. Now, the trick, of course, is how do you do that? And again, you use any of these tools. Give them respect. Give them some honor. Give them some kindness. Give them some compassion. Merely be aware of their existence when they didn't expect you to be. And you'll be surprised at what can develop when you do that. Oh, and incidentally, I can talk about all these things, but that doesn't mean I'm an expert on it. I know I need a lot of work in being more patient and compassionate and treating people with the dignity they're due. But at least I'm working on it. Okay, folks, this lesson, you actually have two assignments because it's about people and it's about persons. Assignment number 1, I want you to distinguish all of your persons. Go through your wallets and grab all your identification cards. Make a little list of all of your persons. I want you to look at how you got it. Think back when you're looking at your driver's license, your hunting license, whatever one you're looking at. How did you get it? What steps were required? Why did you do that? Think back. What rights did you get out of that? Rights or privileges? What duties and obligations did you accept? And now that you know a little bit more about the law, what would some of your options have been? So that's assignment number 1. Do that with your rights. It's going to help you. It'll be important in the future. Lesson number 2, or assignment number 2, we're dealing with people. I want you to go out and I want you to give someone a dignity surprise. Show them some respect, some kindness, something that acknowledges that they are due dignity as a human being. Do that with no strings attached to it, and see how it makes you feel, how it empowers you, and watch how you will start to crack the well springs of abundance. But don't do it for the abundance, just do it to raise them up and to grant them the dignity that you feel that they are due as a human being. So those are your assignments for lesson 3.